TSN.
Pleasure, folks, to welcome you to the new set here of Off the Record. Hope you like the new look. We're certainly excited about it. Continuity is a big thing in television. Today's show was actually recorded last Friday. It was a show that was preempted because of the length of the Ryder Cup. We couldn't show it to you, and you were mad. You wanted to see the show because this show features Hall of Famer Steve Shutt, broadcaster Andy Frost, and a guest that we have been trying to get for 2 years. We had to play this, even though it's on the old set. The show that features Canadian superstar legend Burton Cummings.
Off the Record with Michael Landsberg, brought to you by the Keg Steakhouse and Bar.
Huge week this week. Donovan Bailey, Dikembe Mutombo, Billy Irwin delivered huge, and today expect the best. Don't let me down, guys. One of our favorite guests of all times. One of the best snipers of all times. Great to welcome back to the show Hall of Famer Steve Shutt. Good to see you, Steve.
Thanks, Mike.
Great to welcome to the show a guy who, I got to say, I think we had you on our list the first week we went on the air. 2 years later, we got you in the chair. We're thrilled. From the Guess Who, 10 Juno Awards, 30 million albums worldwide, and he's got 4 that are being re-released right now. Burton Cummings, great to see you, man.
Hey, nice to be here. Thanks, thanks. All these kind words, I don't know what to say.
You'll perhaps have to respond to some less kind words.
All right.
And one of the most respected broadcasters around. You hear him on Toronto Maple Leaf broadcasts, and a former broadcaster with the Winnipeg Jets, and we'll touch on that topic. Great to welcome a friend of OTR, Andy Frost.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Andy. Today, is the next version of the Houston Oilers going to be a hockey team? Unless something happens soon, they sure won't be at Edmonton. And Gretzky's getting a headache over all the bad press that he's been getting, and nothing fixes a headache faster than a good Tylenol, right? But first of all, if Alexei Yashin were Wade Redden, would the Ottawa Senators trying to bust his butt? Yashin's agent says nope. Mark Andler fired another attack at the Sens yesterday, claiming their hardline stance with his client is, at least in part, because they are, quote, bigots. He says the Sens won't negotiate because he's Russian and, quote, they look at hockey as being Canada's game. Gambler, who's also Russian, says the hockey team is stoning Alexei to death. That's his quote. Is there even a hint of truth to this?
Well, I think Gambler's gone over the line with that comment. You don't bring somebody's prejudice into the situation, especially a classy organization like the Ottawa Senators and Rod Brydon. I think it's taken a little bit too far. He may have his position with his client, Alexei Yashin, but when you bring in the prejudice of the situation, I think it's pushing a little bit too far.
Me?
If you want.
I kind of agree with Andy. I think that this is a little bit over the line. I mean, he's obviously worth a lot of money, but something has gone wrong here in the negotiations, and I think he's just throwing stones now at a situation that's already gone bad.
Well, Mark Gandler is famous for this. He's been in probably more negotiation, holdouts, walkouts, lockouts than probably any of the agents around. And for him, it's just another ploy. I mean, it's about money. It's not about whether Russians, Czechs, has nothing to do with that. It's about money, and Gandler's just playing the game.
So are the three of you going to sit there and say, and I'm not trying to prejudice you in any way, that there isn't a hint of race being involved in this? That if he were Wade Redden, they would be suing him, that they would be acting exactly the same way if he was just a good Saskatchewan boy?
There's other Russians in the Senators' camp this year. There's Vyacheslav Busayev. There's Igor Kravchuk. Their leading scorer in the preseason. This Levy guy is the leading scorer for the Senators.
But that means they give Russians jobs when it's good for them. That's something totally separate than this.
Look what's happening in the league right now. You've got over 70 free agents that have not been signed. Owners right now are taking a step back. They're looking at the contracts that they're signing, and they're saying, wait a minute, we're not making any money. You know, I just talked with one of the guys from Chicago Blackhawks. Chicago Blackhawks lost $13 million last year. That's Chicago. Never mind all the other teams. So these owners now are looking there and they're saying, we can't afford this. So they're looking at Yashin. He signed a contract. They're going to make him live up to it. And why shouldn't they? If you sign a contract, you should live up to your it's a moral obligation you have.
Third time he's renegotiated in 6 years. He makes a lot of money. Yashin did not have 1 point in a single playoff game last year. Wade Redden did have points. I think it's gotten to the point where the only situation the Senators, the only choice they have is they're going to have to trade him. It's become an absolute public relations disaster for Yashin personally and as an athlete. as well as with the Senators. But it's going to get to the point where who is going to want a player like Alexei Yashin, knowing that Mark Gandler comes with the package?
Yeah, I was just thinking that same thing. If I were the owner, I wouldn't want to deal with that kind of nonsense. You know, it's just like holding a gun to their heads,
How
really.
many times have you walked away from a deal that maybe wasn't the best deal, but you'd signed it,
Mm-hmm.
and you say, well, I signed it, so, you know, I'm obligated to it, but I'm going to get them the next time.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you've
But
done
a more
it, I've done
relevant
it.
question, Steve, is, and I'll ask the three of you this, have you ever held leverage in a deal where you pushed the deal a little bit further? Yeah, you know what, maybe you could have backed up, but you had some leverage and you squeezed extra hard because you knew you could do it.
Oh, I just did that this year. Big time.
Yeah, but that's hard
My
bargaining.
manager
No, hold
did
on,
that.
hold on. No, hold on.
It's true. I mean, I guess from a certain point I can see both sides of this. You know, I can see his side too. But really, what does it come down to is what is this man worth per season? What is he worth on a multi-year deal, or what is he worth for the fulfillment of the existing contract? That's the coin you have to flip, I think.
One of the things that you got to look at when you talk about an athlete is it's easy to say he's got 1 year left on his contract, he should play it out. But you know what? An athlete can play out that 1 year and get injured and never get the long-term deal. Jamal Anderson's a running back for the Atlanta Falcons. He held out, got a new contract, tore his anterior cruciate ligament this past weekend, and now he's got the strength of the long-term deal. If he wouldn't have held out and had that,
Yeah.
you know, he wouldn't have had the long-term money.
Yeah, there's been a lot of guys that hold out and they inevitably get injured quite often early in the season. I just don't think Yashin, in this case, his leverage is that strong. As I say, he had no points in 4 playoff games. Granted, he had Michael Peca checking him, maybe the best defensive center in all of the National Hockey League. But the leverage of Yashin in this case, I just don't think is as strong as some people may think.
So you question his value as a hockey player?
I question his value to the team at this point. No, Yashin's an outstanding hockey player. I just don't think he's produced or performed to the level of the money that he's asking for, or that Gandler, more accurately, is asking for.
It'd be interesting, too, I guess the way that the league is going, again, I'm going to go back to the owners with the money and everything else. If really there was an offer for him, that somebody's going to make a trade for him, I think there's just a lot of owners are right behind Ottawa and saying, let them sit.
Well, you know what? If they get together and talk about that, you know what they call that?
No, they're not getting
You know what
together.
they call that?
They're not getting together. But, I mean, they're all sitting in their offices there, and they're thinking, geez, that's great. I'm going to do the same thing. And it's just tougher and tougher to get contracts right now.
Well, something's got to be done. I don't know what Steve's thoughts are on this. A salary cap, I think, is something that's absolutely necessary in the National Hockey League.
Well, we sound like a bunch of old guys sitting around here. I never get too much money now. You know, the owner's got to turn the tables on these guys.
Yeah, no. A guy like Yashin is worth a lot of money. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's not the question of him being worth the money that he's asking. But my question is, he signed the contract. Let him finish the contract. Then after that, then let him sign the $10 million deal or $20 million deal.
But so where does it sit right now? He refuses to play this next season,
Yes.
right? He has bluntly refused, but he's still legally bound, technically, to play, right?
Right.
So then where does this all stand?
He sits in Switzerland right now. He will not get paid, and the Ottawa Senators are actually looking at suing him for the damages caused by his absence.
My goodness. I don't know. This gambling
Never happened to us in our days.
Oh, my.
On that note, we will take a break. What a show. Steve Shutt, Burton Cummings, Andy Frost. I'm Michael Landsberg. When we return, Wayne Gretzky. Can you believe it? Some criticism for Wayne Gretzky? We'll take a stab at it when we return.
Yeah.
Steve Shutt, Burton Cummings, Andy Frost. The issue now is Wayne Gretzky. It is dangerous in this business to criticize Wayne Gretzky, but Wayne Gretzky has been criticized for his latest endorsement. No question that every athlete has the right to endorse any product that he wants. There's no question there's nothing wrong with the product Tylenol. He's now a spokesperson for Tylenol and the relief that that drug provides for osteoarthritis. The criticism has come largely in the fact that people are saying that Gretzky, his doctors are saying, has perhaps the warning signs that could eventually lead to osteoarthritis. He's been criticized for the fact that he's getting paid. Here was his response.
Going to see a doctor, I complained about some stiffness in my shoulder and, of course, in my knees and my back and pretty much my whole body. But my goal is to be able to just be comfortable to be around my kids and play golf and tennis with my friends and my wife and to treat this as easily as possible without having to go to a hospital every day.
And that not so much his reaction, but the announcement that he was a spokesperson now for Tylenol. So you're looking at me, Burton. You have a question?
No, I'm just waiting to hear
okay.
what this deal is all about, this Gretzky thing.
Well, the issue is that he's taking money, and originally when the story was broken, it appeared as though he was doing something very kind to raise the promotion and the knowledge of osteoarthritis in this country. Now people are saying, hey, you're getting paid for it. This wasn't up front. This does not have a good feel. You guys see any criticism here?
Well, does he own the company?
Does he own the company?
I don't think so.
Not yet.
It just seemed to have happened fairly quickly after Wayne's, very glorious retirement last year. I think it's just a surprise for everybody. But I have a hard time. I don't know what you guys criticizing anything that Gretzky does.
No, you can't tell me because he's Wayne Gretzky we can't criticize him. Well, anything he does, in the future is okay because he's Wayne Gretzky. I mean, not even Wayne Gretzky would have...
It's difficult to find criticism with Wayne. He's handled himself pretty well, and he's represented the game real well. Well, if he wants to go on and pitch Tylenol for his osteoarthritis, doesn't make any difference.
It might not have been one of his finer moments. Let's put it that way, of the way that was presented. But I don't think anybody here has any problems about him pitching Tylenol or anything like that. But I think somebody somewhere, and it might have not even have been the Gretzky's camp, slipped up.
I think this was just marketed kind of poorly. That's really and truly. He certainly doesn't need money at this point. So, is that the issue? Is he getting a pile of money for this? What's the deal? I don't know. I mean, I know he's been hurting for a long time. He's been in pain for a long time. That's been public knowledge for years. Maybe it makes him feel better.
He's the great one. One of the issues we've talked about on this show is who's the next one. And the Dave Hodge special, Eric Lindros was interviewed regarding some of the trade rumors that have centered around Eric Lindros. And here was one of his comments from that interview with Dave Hodge. Have a listen and a look.
Hey, listen, no one likes to be offered around a trade date. I got a lot of pride, and I like playing in Philadelphia. And that's the way I handled it. I don't care to move. I like playing in Philly. And that, at the time, was the best way to deal with it. And I dealt with it that way, and I think it showed that I wanted to stay there.
So let's put it on the line. Is Bobby Clarke nuts to be peddling Eric Lindros? Let's not talk about the value of what he could get or whether the team should look for a defenseman or a goaltender. Let's talk about Bobby Clarke. Would you try to move him?
Well, he's tried to move everybody else in his team in the last couple of years. I don't see why Lindros should be exempt from that. He's made a lot of trades to improve his hockey team. It hasn't worked. Lindros has been full of a lot of injuries, and he hasn't really played a full season. So I don't see why Lindros can't get moved.
No way. I mean, there's no way. Here you've got a franchise player, one of the premier players in the game. I mean, you don't move those types of players. I mean, if Bobby Clarke is thinking about that, Bobby has not made some great moves, and this could be one of his worst. The players like that, you don't find these guys. Those are the guys you keep, and you keep them happy. You keep them signed. Look at his interview. He wants to play in Philadelphia. He wants to win a Stanley Cup there. And I mean, Bobby shouldn't even be thinking about moving.
I don't think Eric has ever really lived up to people's expectations right from day one. When he came into the NHL, everyone thought this was another Rocket Richard, another whatever. I don't think he's ever really produced what they expected from him, and he got tremendous money. But at the same time, it's as Steve said, he's associated with that franchise. He's associated with the Philadelphia Flyers crest and logo. And to me, sometimes that's worth way more than how many goals in a season.
This guy is a scary player. And
he's a big player.
He's not, he's not a Wayne Gretzky type that's going to score 70 goals. This is a guy that could end your career with a legal check.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, when you're on the ice, you've got one eye on the puck, and you got one eye on him. And believe me, he's a presence on the ice. And now I think he's over that stage where he's trying to be the toughest guy now. Now he's into another stage where he really wants to be a leader. I mean, this guy is ready right now. And he realizes for him to be a great player, to get the stigma out, he's got to win a Stanley Cup. It's like Mario Lemieux. The first 3 or 4 years, he never won a cup. So they say, oh, boy, he's a disappointment. Yeah, he's getting all these goals, but he can't win a Stanley Cup. But as soon as he won a Stanley Cup, now he's a great player.
It all changes.
So you're going to see, if they win a cup, Eric will be a great player.
I think you're right. I think if Bobby Clarke lets him go, it's a huge mistake for the franchise. Historically, in the grand story of the NHL, when the great story is written, I subliminally associate him with Philadelphia. I can't see him in another jersey.
And when they write the story of the National Hockey League, the story about the Winnipeg Jets may not be a very happy one for your Winnipeg Jets, Burton Cummings, and yours, Andy Frost. We'll talk about that when Off the Record returns.
It's kind of like a pathetic, like a divorced guy stalking his ex-wife almost. It left me feeling kind of sorry for Winnipeg, that they had lost the team, but they were still going to cheer for the Coyotes even though they were so far away.
Andy Frost and Burton Cummings, both from Winnipeg, correct?
Yes.
Both, I would imagine, you were a Winnipeg broadcaster, Andy Frost. And I know, Burton Cummings, you were a longtime Winnipeg Jets fan.
And was the celebrity captain one year, actually.
Really?
Thank you very much. Yes.
You're very welcome. The issue here is the Winnipeg Jets. I mean, they are long gone, but most of us believe that this scene, the last game in Winnipeg, will be played out in Vancouver with the Canucks, in Edmonton with the Oilers, and in Calgary with the Flames unless something happens. And many people think that something has to be government money. Should the Canadian government be subsidizing NHL teams?
Bottom line is, though, where does that government money come from? It comes from you and me. So basically, should we be paying to hang on to our national game? That's what you're asking.
And that's the question. You framed it better than I did.
That's a tough question. I would hate to see any more franchises go away. There was kind of a pathetic feeling I had when the Jets left and became the Coyotes. And they would send Winnipeg broadcasters down to the games to cheer our ex-Jets on. It was kind of like a pathetic, like a divorced guy stalking his ex-wife almost. It left me feeling kind of sorry for Winnipeg, that they had lost the team, but they were still going to cheer for the Coyotes even though they were so far away. That really that made us look a little small potatoes at the time, I think.
Andy, Steve, you can't jump in yet. You got to give me an answer. Should the government be kicking money in? You know.
Well, you know what? If it came down to losing all the franchises, yeah, I would kick in money. I mean, that's what it boils down to. Whether the four of us here at the table would
given the fact that you've sold 30 million albums worldwide, chances are you're going to be kicking in some here.
Well, maybe, yeah. I would hate to see the franchises all be lost purely because of a financial push.
I say no way.
No?
No. Right now,
you're willing to see all these franchises leave the country?
I think you have to go in. It has to be. The league has to come in. The Players Association has to come in. What, are they going to sit back there and say, wow, it's Canada because it's Canadian dollars. It's not our problem.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is their problem. Gary Bettman's come up there and he sat into the government and talked to them, but he has not had any put any plans together with. But here's the NHL is going to make an NHL dollar. Which is, part American, part Canadian dollar. They have not put any plans up to really help the Canadian teams at all. So for just the governments to sit there and say, oh, we're going to put money in, no.
Well, I can't really see taxpayers. It's unfair on a lot of fronts. I do like what they've been discussing lately about some of the lottery money coming from this country, and now it's not to take anything away from all of the millions of lottery dollars that go to everything from hockey rinks and community clubs to hospitals. I am well aware, and I think most people are, that there's a lot of money spent on pro line and on over-under and on point spread. Here's lottery players and the government taking money from some of the teams in the National Hockey League, or may it be the NFL, whatever the case may be. And I think some of that money should maybe go to the hockey teams. And as Burton's saying, and I think everybody's aware of that we don't want to see any more Canadian franchises go south of the border or disappear. If it's lottery money, I'm a lot cooler with that than I am with taxpayers footing the bill to keep
in
these
conjunction
teams.
with the league coming up with a contingency plan as well. Why should it just be on the Canadian taxpayers to keep the teams in?
That's quite true.
I mean,
yeah. The league has to step in. You're right.
And the Players Association. I mean, the Players Association has got a big role to play in this as well.
Yeah. But I really, boy, oh boy. I mean, I was a big Jets fan, and even back when they were in the WHA, I was there the night Bobby Hull got that 50th goal in the 50th game when he needed 4 goals going into that game. I was there, and that was a thrill. You know, when the kids that are just starting to play hockey can actually see these guys come to town, like Lindros and all their heroes and Fedorov, you hate to see kids lose that opportunity. You know, it's not the same watching it on television. Not really. You got to smell the ice. You got to hear those checks against the boards. I would hate to see that happen. And I know the Canucks are in danger, and so are the Oilers. I would hate to see that happen.
Put very eloquently, Burton Cummings. We'll take a break. If you would like your opinion as to whether the government should be kicking in money or anything else, you can reach us via the email or fax us. We always want to hear what you have to say about the show. Michael, Burton Cummings on OTR, Canada's best talk show with Canada's best musician. What a combo. Mike, you are the people's choice, baby. All right, thanks, Dave. Let us know what you think. What's that?
Now, of course it's from Winnipeg.
There you go. Or are you saying only guys from Winnipeg would support me? Is that what you're saying, Burton Cummings? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Now, Burton Cummings, I hold in my hand 4 CDs, re-released now.
Yes. Big day for me. They just came out yesterday, actually. Very exciting.
And there they are, all 4.
Wait a minute. Can we zero in on that top left?
No, Burton is a friend of Off the Record, and there's no way that I will humiliate him. But I guess I suppose
We've all got pictures
I could probably
like that.
hold it up here.
I took a little heat from the women's groups over that one, but that's 19 years old, you know. It's a good album, though.
And these are outstanding albums, and these 4 albums available right across Canada?
Yeah, they just came out now on Sony, and they've been remastered at DigiPrep in Hollywood with Bill Inglot, the king of remastering, and they gave me the luxury of supervising the digitization. They gave me the luxury of writing new liner notes and going into the vaults and finding 2 bonus tracks for each one. So it's very exciting.
Congratulations on that. Just a few seconds, Steve Shutt. What's up with you?
Simcoe Refrigeration, still selling rings.
And I've got a Psychedelic Sunday CD available at record stores across the country in conjunction with Q107, my employer here in Toronto, one of them anyway. And there's even a Guess Who track on it.
Campus Canada R Tours. I finally have something to promote. We'll begin on Saturday at Laurier. We'll see you at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Guys, this is way too much fun. Thanks for coming. Will you come back, Burton Cummings?
Absolutely.
We got it on tape.
Yes.
Off the Record with Michael Landsberg is brought to you by the Keg Steakhouse and Bar. For great steaks, good friends, see you tonight. Michael Landsberg's clothing, courtesy for you.
One of the toughest issues, because like everybody wants a hockey team to stay, right? Mm-hmm. But it's